The station looked as though it had been forgotten by God, splinters peeling from its bones, a lonely bench waiting for ghosts. The sun had folded itself low, turning the horizon into a slow burn of copper and rust. Dust curled in the air like untold stories. And there she was, small against the world, shawl clutched tight, a carpetbag at her feet. The wind lifted a strand of her hair. It was the only thing that seemed alive about her. Her face was half hidden, but even so, it carried the weight of silence too heavy for one soul. She looked like someone whose name had been taken away. Silas Boone arrived without ceremony. Horse feed in one hand, a low hum in his throat, boots wearing the memory of 1,000 miles. He was not a man accustomed to surprises. His life was ordered like fence posts, one after the other. But something in the way she curled against the wooden bench, dirt-smudged cheek pressed to the grain, loosened a thread inside him. He didn't mean to stop. Didn't mean to see her. But he did. And when he looked closer, the heat shimmer revealed more, bruises yellowing against pale skin, eyes shut not in rest but retreat. There was no one else there. Just the desert wind and the promise of a night too cold for a woman alone. His voice, when it came, startled even him. "You're coming with me," he said. Her eyes opened slowly. They were the color of worn denim, washed too many times by tears. She didn't answer. But she stood when he offered his hand. Clementine did not speak much those first days. She moved like a shadow, her steps silent, her breath smaller than the space it filled. At meals she barely touched the bread. At night she woke with sharp breaths, clutching her shawl as if it were skin. Silas didn't ask. He left food by her door, water drawn fresh from the well. He knew enough about hurt to know that questions could wound. Once he heard her cry out, a sound half-choked, half-broken. A man's name followed, bitter as bile. He leaned against the wall outside her door, listening. Not to intrude, but because he couldn't walk away. In the morning she was silent again, sleeves pulled low, face turned from the light. But the dishes shone like mirrors, each plate washed twice, maybe 3 times. The desert has its own language, and he let the quiet do the talking. Life began to breathe between them in small ways. Clementine started brushing the horses, though she never climbed the saddle. Silas left wildflowers by her seat at breakfast, never said a word, never asked if she saw. She never mentioned them either, but she never threw them away. He noticed she hummed softly when she thought no one listened, the tune wandering like a bird that had lost its nest. One evening, she stumbled across his journal left open on the table. The words were sparse but tender, a man speaking to no one. Sometimes the silence is heavier than the herd, one line read. She closed it gently as if afraid to bruise the page. She did not say thank you. Instead, the next morning she baked cornbread. With honey. The town was not built for kindness. Men watched, women whispered. Silas walked beside her as they gathered supplies, but Clementine kept her gaze lowered. It did not matter, the words found her anyway. A whore dressed in mourning. He brought home another man's wife. Each syllable was a pebble, sharp and cutting. That night she grew distant again. Her hands trembled as she mended a shirt. Silas could not abide it. When a ranch hand at the saloon spat her name with a grin, Silas's jaw tightened. "Say her name again," he said, voice low enough to still the room. "I dare you." No one spoke after that. Later, by the fire, Clementine asked softly, "Why did you bring me back?" Silas looked at the flames, not at her. "Because I saw a soul that hadn't been treated kind." She said nothing. But she sat beside him for the first time, close enough that the edge of his coat brushed her knee. The ridge was harsh that morning, rocks sunbitten and sharp. Silas found the mare with a leg twisted wrong, her breath ragged. He carried his rifle because that's what mercy looked like on the range. But before he could raise it, Clementine stood between him and the animal. "There's another way," she said, her voice trembling but clear. "Just give her time." It was the first time her strength showed. A steel thread under the quiet. They worked together then. Bandages. Herbs she remembered from her mother. Silas watched her hands steady. Watched the fear thin from her eyes. And as the days passed, the mare began to walk again, limping but alive. Something else healed too. Not all at once, but enough.